Good evening. It's Lori from Laura's World. We are going to California, my favorite place, with a gentleman, Jim Hernandez. He's coming to talk to us a little bit about what his journey's been like and sharing that experience, strength, and hope with everybody. Actually, he's waiting in the waiting room, so I'm going to let him in and we're going to talk to him. I can't wait. Welcome to Laura's World.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about your story, Jim.
Wait, did you say you're coming up on the anniversary soon? You said that, right?
Yes,
When did you?
February 16th, 2010. I'm gonna have 12 years. Woohoo!
I knew that because I saw it on your IG, and yeah, mine is February 19th, so I'm right behind you. So
Awesome.
yeah. I'm gonna have 3 years, so I'm
That
coming up
is
on.
fantastic. How do you feel?
Man, I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to this third year to get here because this second year has been a rough one, man. The second one has been challenging. Lots of obstacles, lots of stuff that really challenged. I don't really want to say necessarily my sobriety because I think I've been blessed that I've never really through. I've gone through a lot, and I'm going through a lot right now. Me and my girlfriend actually broke up a couple days ago.
I'm
So
sorry.
no,
Those are
no, no,
those are not easy.
no, it's not. It was my
Sober
first.
or not. Yeah.
Yeah, it was my first real relationship in recovery, and it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot. And it was it's such like I look back and it's I'm grateful, and I'm actually I'm more proud. I'm proud that super proud of my recovery because it showed me that things that happened in this relationship between the two of us that normally I would have handled in a much different way. I handled it in a much more productive and healthy way in this situation. So I'm really proud. It really showed me a lot of growth, and that's exciting. So I'm taking the positives out of it. But the second year, man, like I heard somebody a couple months ago. I was actually probably like 9, 10 months ago. I don't know if I was in a Zoom meeting or an in-person meeting, but somebody was referring to the second year of recovery as the terrible twos, kind of like in childhood, when babies or little kids are going through the terrible twos. And that just like hit me. And when I heard that, I just stopped and I was like, wow, like thinking back, I'm like, dude, this has been a challenge for me. And so the second year has definitely challenged me. So
I really didn't start real recovery until like 18 months. So my second year was like, oh, it was a lot of work.
well, it's probably all my fault because, of full disclosure, I've never even finished the steps. Like I haven't. I'm a huge
Okay.
advocate for AA and NA. I go to meetings like crazy. I have responsibilities. I have commitments. I lead H&I panels and government assisted treatment centers. I do so much, but I've never even done the steps. So many people have done my inventory for me and called me a complete hypocrite, and I feel like I am a little bit of a hypocrite because I've never done it. I'm a little embarrassed about it, but I've always been very honest about it. Many people have thrown that in my face. People that I thought were friends too, but you know what? That's fine. And I never have. I'm doing them right now again with the sponsor. I'm on step 4, so I have like the whole workbook and all the stuff right here, and going through the fears and resentments and the sex inventory, and I'm doing that. I've done that before. I've gotten up to the 4 step before with the previous sponsor, but I'm really diving into it again. So when I look back at why this year has been such a challenge, maybe it's because I haven't done a lot of the step
Maybe.
work and gotten that serenity that doing the steps and going through them and being completely honest really gives you and sets you free. So I have to look at that and take some
Yeah,
responsibility.
I rushed through them first time and I didn't feel any better, but I know for me, I wasn't honest the first time around. But when I did a fearless and honest inventory, it set me free. It was a game changer.
I've told people that aren't in recovery, I'm like, just do the steps, just try it out. Like whatever. Like, do you like human, like personal growth? Do you like development? Do you like to challenge
Yeah,
yourself? Are you
yeah,
open-minded? Have a different perspective?
yeah.
Like, just do it. See what it does
See
for
what it
you
does.
as
And
a
if it
norm.
doesn't change your mind on anything, then it doesn't change your mind. But at least, what do
Yeah.
you have to lose? That's what I always say. What do you have to lose? Why not?
Time's gonna pass anyways, right? It's like
Yeah,
the time's gonna go by anyways. Do you want to watch Netflix or do you want to like do something different? Like personal growth, anything personal growth, I'm all about. I'm like
yeah.
all about that. So
So are you in both AA and NA, or do you do
no,
what do you do?
I just do AA.
Okay.
Drugs is a little bit part of my story. It's not a big part of my story at all. What I recently started doing was SLA, which is Sex, Love, Addiction Anonymous. Anonymous also. So which is a lot different than Sex Anonymous. SLA is sex and the love. The love is something that I really, when I started hearing about SLA, and that was from my ex-girlfriend. When I started hearing about that, I knew I was a sex addict, and we'll hopefully get into that a little bit. And I realized why I was a sex addict. After I had got some firm foundation in my recovery, with my mental health therapy, I attacked other avenues of like, okay, now why was I, coping using alcohol? So, but SLA is the love. Like, I yearned for people to love and acceptance, and I wanted to be liked. I think I'm definitely codependent, and I'm definitely a people pleaser. So, God, I still suffer from being a people pleaser way too much. So it's boundaries are really hard for me. I allow myself to be walked on. SLA is something that I've gone to 2 meetings so far. Just started going to meetings very recently. Gone to 2 meetings, got a lot out of them. I'm excited to. I want to finish the AA steps and then really kind of get into SLA as well. So
good for you. So tell me, when did you start drinking? What was the age that you started?
The first time I drank, I don't know. The first time I drank was probably at a family event or something. The first time I remember drinking, where I got drunk, that I really remember it, was Old English. God, 40s of Old English, and I was probably in 8th grade.
Okay.
So I remember my best friend, who we did it together. We drank together. We went with one of his brother's friends who was just old enough to drive, and he was in high school. So I wasn't in high school yet. And we went out, drove somewhere, and we got drunk on Old English, and that was my first time. And not gonna lie, like I then got into high school, and in high school and college, I didn't drink all the time. Like I didn't like it. I've always hated the taste of alcohol. Like I couldn't stand it. Like, the first thing when I was young, in my 18, 19, 20s, I would have to drink peppermint schnapps and orange juice just so it tastes like a mint that I could, and that wasn't even good. It's disgusting. Yeah. But, I never drank a lot when I was younger, but when I did, I couldn't drink fast enough. When I got that bottle in my hand, that liquid turned me into the person that I thought everybody thought I should be, and when I say that, what I mean is, in high school, I was an athlete. I was the quarterback of the football team. I was the captain of the football team. I was an ASB, so people really thought just with that, just simply because I could throw a football far and I was on TV all the time and always in the newspaper, I felt like people thought I should be a good public speaker, a good leader, comfortable in front of the microphone, the camera, at the ASB pep rallies. And I wasn't that wasn't me. It was so unnatural for me. And it really gave me, I wasn't comfortable in that. And it was because I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. I had, identity problems from a young childhood. I was molested as a very, very young child by some of my mom's boyfriends and their sons. And when I got to the age where I found out that the stuff that had happened to me was wrong, which that age was probably around like 12 or 13, I didn't know how to deal with it. So I just pushed it in. I was raised by a single mom mostly. I was raised in the 80s. I was born in 76. So it's a total different time than it is now. There's social media, there's no internet. We didn't even have game consoles when I was a kid. So there was my first Nintendo, I think, was when I was like 14. And so literally you don't have cell phones. And so it's not, you can't just reach out. You can't talk to people. It wasn't like that. I was an only child. And so I was alone a lot. My mom worked 3 jobs. And so she was always constantly working. So I was home alone a lot. And, so I never really saw what good communication was like. I never had the parental figures or siblings to really communicate with. And it was, like I said, it was a total different time back then. So my communication skills, I never had an example of what it looked like. I never practiced them very often. And so when it got to the age where I realized, like, shit, this stuff happened, that was messed up, I didn't know how to communicate. So all I did was just push it in and push it in and push it in. Man, it wasn't, multiple hours in a day that went by that I wouldn't think about it. And so, I was really uncomfortable. I got into high school. I wasn't comfortable being popular, but for some reason, like I was. When I drank, I then felt comfortable. I then was funny. I then had the personality that I thought everybody thought I should have. So when I drank, man, I couldn't drink enough. I couldn't drink fast enough. And I was the first one to black out, the first one throwing up. I would wake up, black out young. I'd wake up, all the whites of my eyes were bloodshot because I'd given myself alcohol poisoning. I have to lie to my mom that, I'm like 15 years old, and I have to lie to my mom that I had allergies or something. And I rubbed I popped the blood vessels in my eyes because I rubbed them. But I didn't drink a lot when I was young. I played sports, so I was kind of into that. That was kind of like my outlet. And it wasn't until college sports stopped that I really became like an everyday drinker.
When I did start drinking, I felt the same way. Wow, I could be what anybody else wants me to be.
Yeah.
Because I was, funny, and I could talk, and I could, say things that I never would say before, and it was kind of cool. I hated it at the same time, but made other people happy. So, okay, well, if they liked me, maybe I'd like me. And I still didn't.
You know, me, this thing that I didn't even like, I allowed to just absolutely control and ruin and dominate my life. And
Yeah.
for so many years, it just,
Yeah.
I look back and I laugh. It's so nice to be on the other side of that hell. But I
Yeah.
look back and I'm like, I never liked the taste of this ever. I
Yeah.
just like the effects it gave me. Like I'd never liked anything about it. I didn't like what it made me say. I didn't like what it made me do. I don't know how many times I've been in jail 12, 15 times in my life. You know, I've done and said them, you know, as many of us have, the most god awful things to people. And I've treated people in just the most god awful ways. And I was just saying, I was getting towards, you know, the shirts were wearing a sober AF. And, you know, it's so important for me to recover out loud. And that's not just by wearing a shirt that says sober that will draw people's attention, which actually this helps a lot. I have so many people that comment and connect with me because of it, you know, but we're open about our recovery and our addiction and open about telling our stories. You posted something recently on social media that said, be who you needed when you were younger. And I've heard that before many times. And that just, man, that always just hits me. Like that gets me right there because like, I look at that and, you know, not only when I was younger, did I wish I had, I always wanted that, you know, that male role model, that male figure around. And my mom brought guys around a lot because for two reasons. My mom had me when she was very young. She was 15.
Okay.
And my dad only lived 20 miles away, but my dad was never around. My dad suffers from this disease that we do. But, you know, my mom dated a lot and brought men around a lot because she, not only for her, everybody wants that connection, that camaraderie, that, you know, that relationship. But I know in hindsight, in retrospect, I know she brought him around because she knew I wanted that father figure. So I know she did it for me and it ended up backfiring a couple of times, you know, and she never knew about this till much, much later in life. You know, I always sat there and just always wished for it. Be who you needed when you were younger. So, you know, I think it's so important to talk about this because it's a reality. And we have this, you know, I feel like I have a karmic debt to society to be there for others. I was helped into recovery by people that, you know, had nothing to gain really from it, people I didn't know. And so it's like, I have this debt to really give back and be there for other people and spread the knowledge and awareness. And, you know, shame on us if we don't, because it's a different time. Like it's almost our responsibility to society and not only to give back what we so freely were given, which the rooms, you know, preach that, but just as humanity and the humanity aspect and ideology that, you know, this, like these platforms, for instance, like, you know, YouTube, whether it's IG Live, whether it's a podcast, and just really living it in real life also, because, you know, this is limited. Only a couple, however many people will see this, but when you're out and about, you know, I get people coming up to me all the time and I absolutely love it. I remember when I was homeless in 2015 and 2016 in LA, I didn't even have IG yet, but I had Facebook. And I remember being on Facebook and I would be in one of my blackout drunks in a park by myself, just drinking until I blacked out and just miserable, crying probably. I remember I'd always scroll and I would see all these happy families and these happy people and all these smiling and vacationing. And I never would hit like, I never would comment on it. I would never do anything like that stuff. I would just scroll and I would just feel sorry for myself. Pity party. And, you know, now it's like, I will never forget that feeling that I was in. So now I make sure that, you know, I'm public on everything. Only social media, I'm public. I want people to reach out to me. I really want to be, you know, a voice for recovery.
What was a turning point for you, my dear? What happened? What made you decide, you know what, I really need to do something about this?
No, I love that. I love that question. And I really genuinely love that everybody's rock bottom is different. And, you know, some people maybe didn't hit a rock bottom and didn't have to. And I love that. You know, when I talk to young kids, when I talk to my son, for instance, not even about alcohol, but when just about life, I said, you know what makes somebody really, really special? When somebody can learn from not having to personally experience something. Like, you know, when we're our children, we want them to live to not have to experience the heartbreaks or the, you know, the hurt and pain in situations. So when somebody, you can just explain something to them and then they can just, okay, I get it, and not do it just because of they listen to somebody. You know, I love that. You know, I've come across, you know, young people that, you know, don't drink, and it's just because they've seen the negative effects or really listened to somebody and implemented that in their life. And I love that. But, you know, for me, my situation was, you know, I think I touched base that I was homeless in LA in 2015 and 2016. I was living out of my car for probably like 8 months until my car got repossessed. And then that was gone. So I was totally on the streets for about probably a year. I would couch surf once in a while, but, you know, I definitely was a regular to alleys and carports. You know, I would, I would sneak up. I was in Santa Monica and Venice. And I remember I would sneak up onto people's patios and I would steal the cushions off their patio furniture and I would go find a little cut somewhere and I would sleep there. And I never got a tent. It's so funny. Like our egos and our pride. I never got a tent, even though I would sleep next to people's tents. I never got a tent because that meant I was homeless. If I got the tent, that meant I was homeless.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but me sleeping outside all the time, I'm not homeless or sneaking on the boats. But for the last, I tried to justify it and make sense of it. I tried to just bad luck, just this, that, and you definitely got to the point where I was definitely downgrading the level of the people I was hanging around with and justifying it and making sense of it. And then I just got to the point where I just, I really wanted it just to be dead. Like that was just the honest truth. And if we want to be honest about it, I was a chicken shit because I had the pistol and I was on top of the building that I could have jumped off and I never did it. So, maybe I didn't really want to be dead, but, I was at the point where I remember I was talking to God and I'm just like, if this is all I got, like, if this is what life, if I'm just going to go through life now and this is it, like I literally was just drinking to black out. And if I would wake up, I would just drink and just chug just so I could black out and fall asleep. Like I just didn't want to be awake. And I remember I had a date with my court date, a date with my probation officer. And I went up to my probation officer and I didn't go into that meeting and intend to say this, but she looked at me and she was like, Jim, she's like, what is going on with you? She's like, you absolutely stink. You look like crap. Like what is going on? And I don't know what made me at that moment, like just stop back and pause for a second. I was just like, for whatever reason, I told her in that moment, I'm like, I need help. I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm lost. I'm like, I need help. I don't know what to do. And she connected me with a place called Homeless Healthcare of LA. And they got me into a government funded treatment center, which is a facility. It was 53 guys and government funded treatment centers and transitional rehab facilities, which I work with now a lot. I was at 2 last night. I do H&I panels in them, but they take individuals straight out of prison, out of jail, or off the streets, and they help transition them back into hopefully being productive members of society. If you want it, there's resources there for you. And when I walked in that facility, I was just like, wow. But for the first time in my life, I surrendered. I just said, I want this, and I don't know what it was. I was 39 years old. I found God again in that facility. And I just totally surrendered to the program. I did anything my counselors told me. I was in the big book. I journaled. If I had free time, I was in the gym, journaling, reading the big book, doing something productive. I wasn't doing the 12 steps. I read the 12 steps. I never did them in there, but I would do all the homework assignments. I wasn't the person. Most people were watching TV. See how many movies I can watch the time I was here. But I was really I really dedicated myself to that. And that really set a firm foundation for my recovery, my sobriety, because I have relapsed. I got to about 11 months and I did relapse for about 2 years, but in the back of my mind that whole time, I knew that, I had loved myself. I had that, which was sobriety and not drinking and being clean, allowed me for the first time ever to love myself again. So I always knew in my relapse that, shit, this isn't good, but that's what I want. So finally, I was able to pull myself out. But, in our active addiction, so many times I prayed, but I prayed with expectations. Like I prayed with like, hey, I'm going to pray and you need to do this for me. And if you don't, then
right now,
you're not real. Right now. I need results. And if I can get them right now, that'd be great. If not, then you're not real.
You're not real. Yep.
It's such a blessing to be on the side. Like I read this a long time ago and it said, what if all you had today was what you prayed for yesterday? And that one was just like, boom. And when I pray, like, I'm not really gonna get into my prayers, but it's very rare I pray for anything personal or I never pray for materialistic things. Never. It's health, family, friends, situations. Please speak through me, like, use me, something like that. And so that when I read that or heard that, whatever it was years ago, and I was like, what if all you had today was what you prayed for yesterday? Now I can read that and be confident with it, but for so long I couldn't. And for so long I prayed with expectations. And it's just, man, God has done so much for me that I could never do for myself. And it's like that blind faith is terrifying. But once you do it and you live it on a constant daily in your life, it's I probably had in my active addiction met, people that had true unconditional love for you. I'm sure I did. And I know I did. You had one of your recent guests was Marty Evans. And that man, you want to talk about unconditional love and just a pure, kind human being. Like
I just love him so much. One of the most genuine people that I've ever met. And that's the thing about the recovery community. It's for real. And I always thought that these people were full of shit, but these people, they're real. And it's
yes. I've had some bad experiences, and like I said,
Of course, of course.
we are
I mean,
people
people are
trying to
people,
get.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Not just people in recovery have defects of character. Everybody's
of
have defects
course.
of characters,
Yeah,
but
of course.
we're all sick people trying to get well, and we act up. I act up, man. I'm like,
Yeah.
I will slip up once in a while and really have to carry myself. But you know what? Now that we're blessed to have tools and to be able to acknowledge it and realize it, and then
Quicker, a lot quicker.
yeah. And you posted something really recently, and I think you posted the word pause or something like that. And
Yes,
pause is,
practice the pause.
man, that saves me. Like, you know what? Like, because my instant reaction, like one thing I've had to really like, and I've implemented, and I'm so grateful that I've been able to. And once again, it's God, it's not me, it's God working through me in this recovery program, giving me patience and allowing me to pause. But sitting back, if I just react, I'm gonna be in jail. If I just react, I'm gonna be, driving drunk on the freeway
Yeah.
at 110 miles an hour. So, I have to
Yeah.
really live in my conscious mind. I can't just use my subconscious mind and react. So me pausing has saved me so many
Oh,
times. Just
oh
that.
my God. Yeah. I just love this life. I just love it. And and every time I say it, it's like, pinch me. Like, but I honestly, I'm one of those people that probably the newcomers are like, yeah, you're full of shit, old lady. But I'm not. It's
When
so,
I was a newcomer, I thought that. I thought everybody was full of shit. Like,
yeah.
no, no,
Oh, I did too. I
no.
was like,
Why are you so happy? Stop. Like, no,
yeah.
yeah.
What's so funny about this? I'm not happy. So why is anybody else?
Man, I thought people were like, that's just fake. Like, you're sober. You don't have a substance in your body. You can't be having fun
You can't
and
be
really
having fun.
smiling and like be happy inside.
What are
Like,
you
you're
taking?
really good.
What are you taking? I know you're
Yeah,
doing
or else
something.
this thing's
Yeah.
gonna go away. You're just doing this for this hour while you're in here because you're putting on a show. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
when I was
Yeah.
in recovery, first early recovery, when I go to meetings, I compare it to church. Because I always, and I hate that I say this, but sometimes I felt like judged in church. And it was probably just me.
Yeah. No, I
But,
do too, because I was judging myself. So I thought everybody else was.
100% probably
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely.
You know, I had a big problem with the God thing in recovery, and it was because I had resentments, and because I didn't have a healthy relationship with God for a long time. Yeah, all my own wrongdoing in this addiction. But yeah, when I came into the rooms, and when I realized, like, as I got time and I got more and more time, I'm like, dude, I'm getting happy. Like, I can laugh, I can have a conversation.
Yeah.
Being able to have dialogue and a conversation and communicate with somebody and
And
be
laugh.
comfortable with it, and not have it being like anxiety ridden, or me
Yeah.
like trying to find a reason to leave. Like, oh my God, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm like, I don't have to go to the bathroom. Like, I would just, because that's, I
Yeah.
can go sitting there by myself. Like, I
Yeah.
would,
I
always.
get it. I get it. It's so funny. A year and a half, I wouldn't laugh. And I found myself at this meeting with like 13 people, and I was laughing at something so hard that my stomach hurt, like literally. And I stopped myself and I'm like, oh, am I supposed to be laughing? Like I stopped myself. Like, how bizarre. I'm not supposed to be having fun in recovery. But before we go, I want to talk to you about how all of this, how did this all come about?
I came out with a fitness clothing line right after I got out of treatment. I've always worked out. I was an athlete. I've always been in good shape. But when I coupled recovery and I coupled working out, I really, for the first time, really started loving myself. I started getting my self dignity, my self worth back through working out. Like, really got me, obviously the reading, journaling, and all the other aspects. But about a year after I got out of treatment, I was like, I'm gonna start this recovery fitness, this fitness clothing line. I want to dedicate it to addicts in recovery, and I want to really try to inspire and really get to people in recovery, and have them use physical fitness as a tool for them also. So I did that. I started it, no knowledge. I was broke, mind you. I was homeless before that. You don't become homeless because you have good credit or your family wants to help you. So I started this clothing line with nothing, and I still really have nothing. But I was passionate about it. So I was treading that rope, putting out, started a website and stuff like that. And then I got into a relapse. I relapsed, and I was in a 2-year relapse. And when I came out of my relapse, I was like, all right, I need something else to. I was pulling myself out of my relapse. I was like, I really need something else to hold me accountable. I'm like, if this is a fitness clothing line dedicated to inspiring addicts in recovery, I was like, put sober on your chest. If you walk around with sober AF on your chest, that is going to hold you to a different level of accountability. So I came out with this line then, right after my last relapse. So this is almost 3 years ago, because I'm almost on 3 years, and it's by far been my most popular one. I sell more of these than I sell anything. It's just incredible. It's caught on. Our sober community is so supportive, and amazing. You know, I have to say this real quick because you brought up Martin earlier. You know, I wear his shirt often. It says, I'm not anonymous. And inside it says, I recover out loud so others don't have to suffer in silence. And, you know, me and Martin, I'm not going to say we were best friends. He helped me on multiple different projects with my nonprofit, and he was always there and he was so kind. But, you know, and I text with Crystal pretty often, his wife, and it breaks my heart knowing that, you know, his last days he was suffering in silence. And, you know, he put out these shirts that were incredible. And they all talked about, you know, grow through what you go through. And I'm not anonymous. I recover out loud so others don't have to suffer in silence. And Martin was just one of those guys that, like, you know, he was just, obviously he's gone way too soon, but, you know, I look at him and I'm like, wow, he's appreciated so much now. Like, so many of us talk about him. So I just want to, you know, say rest in peace, Martin.
I miss him. I miss our daily chats. When I ever got that phone call from Marty, I was devastated because he's just a wonderful, wonderful human being, and very, very missed, very missed.
Nah, disease is real, man. It's sad. It's sad.
Yeah, it is, because we do this so that no one has to suffer in silence. And I wish that he told somebody how he was really feeling. But we take that and we learn something from it. No matter how devastating it is, we learn something from that. And so, you know, a couple of weeks after that, I was having a really bad day, and I started thinking about him, and I'm like, you play this in your head. Well, it's not that bad. And if, you know, I don't want to bother so-and-so with it. And I quickly caught myself and said, you know what? I just got to say it out loud, because that shit stays with you and you just push it down and push it down and push it down. So he helped me.
You know,
helped me.
It's crazy because I think, you know, for me, I can only speak for myself, but I hear this very common. You know, it's so hard for us to reach out sometimes. You know, when I'm going through some stuff bad, and I know I've been in kind of a funk for a while, it's usually one of two things. It's either expectations or my pride or ego or fear are really, those things are playing a toll on me. And I was in a treatment center last night, and I was talking to the gentleman, and I said, you know what, the most powerful tool, probably one of the most powerful tools, not the most powerful tool that any of us have, and almost every single one of us have, is this right here. You know, we're taught to reach out and talk to somebody, reach out to somebody when you're struggling. And so many of us, and I'm definitely one, you know, our pride stops us from doing that.
Yeah.
When people relapse, I'm like, why didn't you? Oh, I didn't have anybody to call. No, you had somebody to call. Your pride stopped you, or your ego stopped you. Yeah. And it's really difficult for us. And I understand that. It's been difficult.
I do understand that.
Time. But this right here is a powerful weapon. You know, I thought I should be able to do this by myself. I was embarrassed. I'm like, I should not be here. I should be able to handle this. Why can't I? Like, what is wrong with me? Why am I not tough enough? Am I not mentally strong enough? Like, what is it? And you know what?
No,
we're human.
We're human.
So many other people suffer from the same exact, not only disease, but mindset and just funk and defective character that, you know, we're meant to be social people. We're not meant to just sit back in a bucket. That's why I love Zoom and stuff, but I don't, because I was meant to be social people. Recovery is not an individual sport. Recovery is not. It's a team.
No. We do recover. We do. I tried to do this thing on my own, and it did not go very well. I needed the help. And I'm so glad I asked for it. And I'm so glad that you asked for it. And I love I've got my sweatshirt. I got my baseball tee. I love that. Oh my God, that's so soft. But I have to tell you, when I placed the order, you had sent me out the package, and I opened up, I opened it up, and there was a handwritten note in there from you. That got me choked up, because you took the time to write a little note to me, and we don't even know each other. And so that meant so much to me. And I just want to thank you for that, because that was beautiful, because that was individually written. You took some time out to write me this little note. And that's connection. That's connection. And I love that. And thank you.
Did you get a one day at a time chip also?
Yes, it's hanging on my friend's thing right here. I love it.
Every sober shirt. I make sure I send those with every sober shirt, because it's important for people to have those. It's a reminder. If it's on your keychain, it can be a reminder, and that can get you through a tough moment. You know, the simplest things can get you. Seeing this on your chest, or looking at your keychain. If you're in the grocery store and you're struggling, if you run into 7-Eleven, you have your keys in your hand, and you're looking at that cooler, but you see that one day at a time, that can hopefully, get you through it. So
absolutely. I carry whatever year I'm in, I carry it with me everywhere. And if I'm going to do a speaking engagement, or if I'm nervous about something, I get it out out of my pocket and I hold it in my hand and I'm like, this is why I'm here.
Yes.
Okay, we get through it. We do. Feelings go away, good and bad, so enjoy the good ones and learn from the bad ones. And we're all going to be all right. We got each other.
Right. Man, this is awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh my God, I had such a great time. Thank you so much. I just love talking to people that are passionate about the recovery community, and I can see that you are, and I'm just very grateful that we had this opportunity.
So much. I really
Jim, thank you
appreciate it.
so much. I so appreciated this. This was great. You enjoy the rest of your evening,
Thank you so
okay?
much.
Thank
You too.
you.
Bye-bye.